Best quotes from Man's Search for Meaning. Viktor Frankl was a Holocaust survivor. After being freed, he not only wrote the book Man's Search for Meaning, but also came up with the psychological school of logotherapy. Logotherapy literally comes from logos, meaning word or thought in Greek, implying that it treated mental ailments through the process of meaning-making. This thought process is evident in most of his quotes. 1. That kind of depression which afflicts people who become aware of the lack of content in their lives when the rush of the busy week is over, and the void within themselves becomes manifest. Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. 2. At such a moment, it is not the physical pain which hurts the most, it is the mental agony caused by the injustice, the unreasonableness of it all. Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. 3. When a man cannot find meaning, he numbs himself with pleasure. Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. 4. God is the partner of your most intimate soliloquies. Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. 5. Once man's search for meaning of life is successful, it not only renders him happy, but also gives him the capability to cope with suffering. 6. I recommend that the Statue of Liberty be supplemented by a Statue of Responsibility on the West Coast. 7. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. 8. What is to give light must endure burning. 9. I do not forget any good deed done to me. I do not carry a grudge for a bad one. 10. I understood how a man who has nothing left in this world still may know bliss, be it only for a brief moment, in the contemplation of his beloved. 11. Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. 12. Life is not primarily a quest for pleasure, as Freud believed, or a quest for power, as Alfred Adler taught, but a quest for meaning. The greatest task for any person is to find meaning in his or her life. 13. Those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how. 14. We needed to stop asking about the meaning of life, and instead think of ourselves who were questioned by life daily and hourly. Our answer must consist in right conduct. 15. Life ultimately means taking the responsibility to find the right answer to its problems, and to fulfill the tasks which it constantly sets for each individual. 16. Man does not simply exist, but always decides what his existence will be. 17. But there was no need to be ashamed of tears, for tears bore witness that a man had the greatest of courage, the courage to suffer. 18. The attempt to develop a sense of humor, and to see things in a humorous light, is some kind of a trick learned while mastering the art of living. 19. If you call religious a man who believes in what I call a super meaning, a meaning so comprehensive that you can no longer grasp it, get hold of it in rational intellectual terminology, then one should feel free to call me religious, really. 20. If you dedicate yourself to a cause, they say success will follow. 21. For the world is in a bad state, but everything will become still worse unless each of us does his best. 22. There is nothing conceivable which would so condition a man to leave him without the slightest freedom. 23. An abnormal reaction to an abnormal situation is normal behavior. 24. How could I have interpreted such a coincidence other than as a challenge to live my thoughts instead of merely putting them on paper? 25. Only slowly could these men be guided back to the commonplace truth that no one has the right to do wrong, not even if wrong has been done to them. 26. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. 27. Love is the only way to grasp another human being in the innermost core of his personality. 28. Every human being has the ability to change at an instant. 29. Happiness cannot be pursued, it must ensue, and it only does so as an unintended side effect of one's personal dedication to a cause greater than oneself. 30. Ultimately, man should not ask what the meaning of his life is, but rather must recognize that it is he who is asked.